Good Sunday afternoon. What's happening? My sports fans, guess what time it is? It's time for our Sunday sports chat. It's been a couple of weeks since I done came through, but I am back because we got a little bit to talk about. Again, I am Kendrick, your host. You're watching TFG Sports Media. It's what I call our Sunday sports chat. We're going to talk a little bit of sports. Mainly, we're talking about college football and one of the biggest games of the weekend thus far happened on yesterday, but we're going to get to that in just a few minutes. But before we do, make sure you come in and like the broadcast. Make sure you share it to all your social media platforms. If you haven't already subscribed, make sure you subscribe to TFG Sports Media on YouTube, like and follow it on Facebook, as well as subscribe to Kendrick Sports Hustle. That's SportZhustle on YouTube, and like and follow it on Facebook as well. And go over there, man, and watch some of the other videos and all the other things so we can get those watch hours popping on both those channels, on TFG Sports Media and on Kendrick Sports Hustle. Just an update on the TFG Sports Media. We are almost at 1,800 subscribers. I want to thank all those that have subscribed to the channel and watch and share it. Make sure you just share the videos, watch some of the videos, the content that I create. I try to give you what's latest happenings in the world of sports. I also try to give you whatever's breaking as well. I try to do that. I'm not, my channel and my personal sports channel, I try not to do all of the a lot of the YouTube content creators that I see. A lot of them are they like to create their content off of other sports cast or sports personalities. It's a lot of going at other sportscasters in the YouTube streets, and I don't want to get into that. So that's just my thing. The real estate, what's up, my brother? The real estate insider is in the house. Appreciate that. That was a great game. You are so correct. You know what? And you and I were chatting a little bit back and forth. If you did know, the real estate insider is not a big college football fan, but he was watching the Colorado and TCU game on yesterday, and we were texting back and forth a little bit during the game, and he was like, "That was a great game." Exactly, it lived up. I ain't gonna say it lived up to the hype because most people had Colorado getting blown out the waters. A lot of people, a lot of the sports pundits, the opinionists, the personalities, they didn't give Colorado a shot. They were 20-point underdogs. Matter of fact, Vegas didn't give them a shot, and I know Vegas was in shambles yesterday after Colorado actually covered the spread. They covered the spread and then some, and got the upset win. So again, that was one of the bigger games of the day. Matter of fact, that was anticipated going back to when summer drill started for the college game. Everybody was pointing to that game, Colorado at TCU. You know, TCU was coming off of a national championship appearance versus Georgia. They got thumped, but I mean, they had a great season last year, led by Sonny Dykes, who came over from SMU, and he kind of turned that TCU program around. And so nobody gave Colorado, Coach Prime and his young fellas a chance. And they came to Funky Town, Fort Worth, and again, they did their thing. So we're going to jump into that. But again, make sure you come in, like, share the broadcast, comment so we can chat. Make sure you watch it. If you come in late, rewind it and watch this later. Because, again, we're talking about Coach Prime and his Colorado Buffaloes getting off to this great start. So we're going to jump into it. I'm expecting possibly a guest. If not, man, I'm going to roll this thing solo. And I can do that. So we're going to go ahead and jump into this thing. Let's talk about Coach Prime and his Colorado Buffaloes. If you missed that game on yesterday, it again was a great one. Colorado got the win 45-42 over the number 17 ranked TCU Horned Frogs. They came into the game, again, 20-point underdogs. The Buffaloes, if you didn't know, they have 87 new players through the transfer portal or through recruiting, which is the most in NCAA Division I football. So Coach Prime came in and totally revamped, reloaded, got rid of, with however you want to word it, players. He wanted to bring in his own. I remember his opening press conference. He said that, look, he said, I'm bringing Louis Vuitton with me. So there we have it. And then right on, here go my man, MC Michael Coleman. If y'all don't know who this is my brother. He's a KLTV sports director. Mike, how you doing, bro?
I'm doing good, man. Can you hear me loud and clear?
I can hear you loud and clear. Can you
hear me? Fantastic.
You can hear me, right?
I got you, baby. I got you.
All right. Let's go ahead and jump in this thing. You probably heard a little bit about me talking about the game and whatnot. Let's jump into it. Colorado came in as 20-point underdogs, and they put on a show and they got the win. Just get your thoughts first of all on that big win for Coach Prime and the program.
First of all, let me tell you, that's the only game I watched yesterday, because I'm thinking I ain't gonna see a game as good as this one the rest of the day,
right? Yeah,
and maybe for the next 2 weeks. But I'm not gonna lie, dude. My tears watered for joy for this man, much like when Barack got elected. You know, it was that kind of moment, but at this level, you know. And we have known Deion ever since he played at Florida State. He talked noise, but he always backed it up.
Right.
He ain't never not backed it up.
Right.
And then for some of those young folks who don't really understand the Deion Sanders, this is a man that returned a punt for a touchdown, caught a helicopter to New York City, hit a home run for the New York Yankees.
Right.
When you do something like that, what's not possible? What's not possible? And I just like the way he conducted himself. Now, he talked anyway when he had nothing to really talk about, just stirring stuff.
Right.
And I know that I heard in the broadcast that Sonny Dykes got tired of hearing all this talk about Colorado. If he was tired before the game, he on his way to being tired right now as we speak.
Right.
You know, and the way you stop them from talking about Colorado, you stop Colorado.
Yep. Yeah.
And that was not a fluke. That was not a fluke. And then and let's look at this too, though. First of all, when they made them 21-point favorites, I'm like, wait a minute. TCU ain't like number 2 in the country. They number 17. And they got beat. That's nothing that kind of contradicts it. And they got beat as runner-up in the championship game.
They got
thumped. I know they lost.
They got thumped, Mike. They didn't get beat. They got thumped.
They got thumped 62 to whatever, I think.
7. I think they only scored 7.
Oh, they got that 7. Okay. Well, and the thing is, it's like, how do you even either you rank them at a decent spot because they got to play in it last year, or you don't even give them a ranking. Don't even rank them at 17.
Right.
You know, I thought, that the game aside, I thought, well, why'd they give them so much love, but dissing them at the same time? You know, you're gonna make them 21-point favorites over an expansion team, but you're gonna have them ranked number 17th.
Yeah, because they probably did that, Mike, because they lost a lot of people. They lost some people. You know, TCU they kind of had to redo their offensive line and stuff. Obviously, they lost their starting quarterback too. So that's
I think that's what threw me off with the line being 21 points.
Oh, right.
Knowing that. Yeah, it's like, well, shoot, you're going to have as many new people as Colorado.
Right. Exactly.
In terms of trying to gel.
You make a valid point. Yeah. Why was that line such? Why was it? I don't think it was so much about TCU. It was so much about how they really don't think Colorado was going to do much. I think
because they had never seen this before. That Deion told them.
Exactly. And so that's what that was.
And there are some folks who are fearful, and it's true. They're kind of fearful where this thing might go. Because there's going to be copycats going to come into a program. They're going to revamp, bring in their people or whatever the case might be. But see, you just can't go by what Deion did. You cannot do that. Don't make this a pattern because you saw him do it and it worked.
Yeah. Right.
Find your way. Y'all said he couldn't find a way, but he did.
And he's doing it his way. And you know, the thing about coaching is, I've always said, I feel like if you bring in a coach, if you want him to be the chef, you need to let him buy the groceries. That's what Bill Parcells said. Yeah, and I get it. It's college football, but the NIL and the transfer portal has totally changed the way you do.
And that's when it quits being
right.
That's when it quits being amateur.
Right.
when there's money involved,
Yeah.
because let's face it, the transfer portal is a gunslinging opportunity in terms of who can I come in for 1 year,
Right.
take me over the top,
Yeah.
that kind of thing, you
Yeah.
know. And that's just the landscape. You see these conferences, they're getting different teams, they're realigning. They keep saying that they're going pretty soon. The word, at least in football, student athlete is going to be an oxymoron. It's going to
Yeah.
be a word that's not true.
Right. Right. It doesn't even. Yeah.
It's
It
just
doesn't compute
athlete,
anymore. It's just
pro
athlete now.
student athlete,
Yeah.
pro
And,
student athlete. But no,
and,
I thought hats off. I know they got Nebraska, but I
mhm.
feel the same way about going to the Nebraska games. I feel about this game. I didn't know they're going to win, but I thought this team is not going to go out there and stink. They're
Right.
not going to stink.
They're not gonna stink. I said that too. Yeah. And check this out, Mike. I'm scrolling at the bottom. That was the most points scored against a ranked team since 2001 versus Nebraska for Colorado. That snapped a 27-game road losing streak versus an AP top 25 team. And defensive back wide receiver Travis Hunter is the first player since Kevin Lockett in 1996 with 10 plus catches and an interception in a game. So we had some things going down in that Colorado TCU game yesterday. I will say this. Coach Prime did say in his press conference, defensively, they got to tighten up some things. Obviously, I think that was a kickoff return they gave away for a touchdown, I believe. They had a blocked field goal too, I believe. And they got gashed a little bit in the running game. So he said,
and they did, and I think, but you know what? And they did. I said, well, they need some work in the middle. But I was talking to my buddy, my good friend Hugh Lewis, and he and I going back and forth. He said, man, if I'm a 16 or 17-year-old kid watching this game and seeing that they're having problems, I'm going to go to play at Colorado because I know I can start from the jump. I said, that's how you recruit.
Yeah, that's how you recruit.
These kids are smart today, man. Like, well, you know what? They're lacking in this department. And they just they took care of business for the first time ever, all assembled. That's going to be a good fit for me. Oh, dude, he that was the best recruiting tool of his career up to this point. Actual basis of the tangible. See it with your eyes. See it with your eyes. And the defense later on, they hunkered down when they had to.
When they had to, they got that fourth down.
They weren't consistent, but they hunkered down when they had to.
Yes, they did. And that's all, that's all it's about. Bending but don't break. And that's what they did pretty much all day yesterday. And they were able to keep their composure. And that shows you, what type of Coach Prime is, as well as his staff, because he got one of the better staffs across the country. If people don't know, he got a pretty damn good coaching staff.
Well, Keyshawn Johnson said that a few days ago on that new show he's on. He said, hey, Deion's got the best coaching staff in the country. And I dig the whites, man. You don't think them whites ain't gonna be selling at the bookstore? Shoot.
Right. You're right.
Shoot.
Now let's talk about the head coach's quarterback. Talk about Mike. What about his performance yesterday? Tell me what you thought about Shedeur, his first game at this level.
You can tell who his daddy is. You can tell who he's been around all his life. We just get snippets of it through TV. He lived it.
Right.
He lived it. I saw a longer soundbite with him where he talked about his involvement with his kids as young athletes and how they were taught to never give up and not to be afraid of nothing, and that whole bit right there. Because let's face it, Deion's team are just a bunch of Deion thinking guys who can play the game.
Yeah, it's his guys. That's what he said. He's bringing in his guys. Yeah,
and for him to. And I hadn't realized it, and I saw it on Twitter. I got to mark my calendar, September 30th. Him and Caleb Williams, man. Right. That's going to be a game.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Yeah,
they didn't need it till yesterday.
That could be one about whoever wins. That could be the Heisman Trophy winner.
There you go. There you go.
Think about that. Yeah.
I mean, already I'm looking forward to Colorado's game down the road. I'm looking forward to it next week. But I can't wait to see that game because by now everybody is settled down. They have found a way to scout you, and you say, well, you can scout me all you want, but you got to beat me.
Right.
And both those quarterbacks, I think, are of that caliber. You can scout me, but you got to beat me. Oh, dude, that's going to be it's going to be a photographer's dream that day of getting action shots, man.
That's probably going to be a track meet. But
Oh yeah, dude.
yeah. Quarterback Shadur Sanders was 38 for 47, 510 yards, 4 TDs. Uh, the Colorado Buffaloes had 4 100-yard receivers, the first time that's ever happened. Defensive back wide receiver Travis Hunter caught 11 balls for 119 yards, 1 interception as a DB. He played 120 snaps. Mike, what you think about Travis Hunter playing those many snaps in a game?
Well, there's something we ain't never seen before. But see, we're living at an age now, Kendrick, where things that are different are happening at a faster pace. Talking about the realignment with the conferences. We're talking about the Patrick Mahomes and what he's doing. We're talking about Deion Sanders going to an HBCU and then jumping to a Power 5 and knocking down doors. All these things are happening at the same time. And so this is just the latest. By 4 games in, we're going to be used to him playing both sides of the ball.
Right.
You know?
He said he wants to.
We're like, oh, yeah.
He said he wants to play it too.
Oh, dude, I'm trying to think. I mean, the one player that I can go back as far as remember and historically wise that wore all the hats other than Deion is Jim Thorpe. Okay?
Yeah,
Jim Thorpe is one heck of an athlete. Yeah. And I know in the first 50 years of top athletes, he was number 1. And and I was always, I mean, he went to a school in my town, Haskell Indian Junior College. He spent some time there. I don't think he played any ball there. But he played in I can't think of the name, Carlisle, Pennsylvania. And of course the Olympics. Lost his gold medal because he played semi-pro baseball and got that back like 20 years after he died because the family pushed for it, that kind of stuff. Just the barriers he was bringing. And a lot of people don't know he's the first NFL commissioner. All right, Jim Thorpe. And so when you see how things have evolved from that era to now, like Deion, I remember seeing Deion doing Entertainment Tonight, CBS. He belongs on the football field.
Right.
That's where he belongs, molding young men.
Right.
Now, you wouldn't have said it about him when in his heyday when he played because we didn't see that side of him. But and you can't even say he's reinvented himself. He's always been relevant.
Right.
Always been relevant. So I think a cat like him on the scene, it's good for these young African-American student athletes to see. Because we always complain that there aren't enough black head coaches.
Right.
And
especially at the college level, especially at the college football level.
Especially at the college level.
Yeah.
And I hope Deion don't ever go to the NFL, but if he does, more power to him. I like him in the role he's in right now, working with young men, guiding them.
I do too. And let's talk about the other, the young freshman, Dylan Edwards. He had a breakout game, 5 receptions, 135 yards. Jimmy Horn Jr., 11 receptions, 117 yards, 1 touchdown. Xavier Weaver, 6 receptions, 118 yards. Now, let's not jump ahead of ourselves. I had to say this. This was a great game. Now, will they all be like this?
Right.
Offensively, probably not.
Probably not.
So let's pump the brakes now. I think Colorado is going to be a bold team. I think they're going to do that, but they're going to hit some speed bumps, and that's where Deion's leadership, Coach Prime's leadership, is going to come into play.
Exactly. And Coach, I think he lost like 6 games total at Jackson State.
Right. He didn't lose many. You're right.
So it's like he's lost before, and he's gotten his team up before. Now he's getting them up at a whole different level. We'll put it this way. To hear them tell it a whole different level. Not all Power 5 schools are actually Power 5 schools. You know what I'm saying? There are some schools in the SWAC that might be able to compete with some lesser Power 5 schools. Right. Jackson State could have during his tenure there. But when you put a label on something, because it's enhanced, and so this is enhanced by times 10. When actually TCU either A, just had a bad day, or they not all that.
Right. Yeah.
So they're the perfect target. And, people were like, well, they scheduled this game because Deion's coach. No, this schedule's been planned out for years.
Yeah, it's been years. Yeah, he had nothing to do with this schedule.
He had nothing to do. They just didn't know Deion was going to be on the scene when they came up with this schedule.
You're right. Yeah. What up, Charles? Thanks for joining us, brother. He says that Charles says that Colorado's going to be a problem in the Big 12 next year. I agree with that. Charles also says Prime has coached Edwards since he was a kid. Yeah, I did see that somewhere that he had
Yeah,
coached
I
him
did read that too.
for a
Yeah,
minute.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Let's stay on Prime. I was reading something this morning where there's been some kickbacks. Some reporters are complaining about Coach Prime's press conference, how he calls them out. I saw this and I'm like, what do you mean you don't think you calling him out because he called you out because he didn't like what you said? If my memory serves me correctly, Bill Parcells used to call reporters out all the time. If my memory serves correctly, Nick Saban will call a reporter out as the time. If memory serves me correctly, Bill Belichick can be short and trite and with reporters all the time. So why you got a problem with Coach Prime doing what other white coaches? I ain't trying to make this a race thing, but it seemed like to me that's what it's turning into. What you think about that, Mike?
Well, I'm not surprised that folks are going to object to how Deion responds to media. People understand Deion used to be the media.
Right.
He been on the other side of that microphone. He has heard people trash other teams or people and like, that ain't cool. But that wasn't his job to do that. And so he's been there and done that. And so he's like, you know what? I've always been the kind of person to tell what I feel. I don't hurt nobody's feelings, but they let their feelings get hurt. And so, I mean, yeah, because that was Ed Werder he called out yesterday.
Yeah. Oh,
that's who he called out. And,
okay.
Yeah, it's Ed Werder, and we know Ed's been around for a long time. So this is not his first go around with Deion Sanders. All right. So he of all people should know not to poke the bear unnecessarily. And when he like, hey, do you believe? Do you believe? Do you believe in what? And he's the next question. And I've seen people on social media stand up for Deion. I said, listen, one guy said, if you're going to write stuff that's going to be opinion, and then when you get called out about it, you need to address it just as aggressively as you did the first time around. Don't be a coward about it, because Deion's not being a coward about it. When you wrote it and after the fact, he's the same guy, And so people get it, man. People get it. And hey, if you don't want to be called out, be more of a journalist. I don't think he's not calling him out.
Right.
For not being a journalist.
And my thing is, if you write it, stand 10 toes down on it. Don't
say, listen, I had this game wrong. I'm still gonna check you out, coach. But game one, I was wrong. That's all you gotta do.
That's all you gotta do. Just own it. Yeah, just own it. Say, yeah, I wrote that, I said it, yeah, and I was wrong. That's all. And keep it moving, I agree with you, Mike. Charles also said it's a race thing. It's giving know your place boy mentality, and I agree with that. I think we still see that in sports. I know as much as sports bring us together, as right, as people, as all races, we still gonna have a little pocket of, oh, wait a minute now, you're a black man, you doing a little bit too much. We ain't rocking with that. In my opinion.
No, it's true.
So that's that. So I my thing was Coach Prime. I go to TFG Sports Media, Kendrick Sports Hustle. I pulled some sound from his presser yesterday, and he had some good stuff. Like I say, y'all know Coach Prime don't bite his tongue. So y'all go check out those reports over there, because I use some of that sound, and he, some of the quotes he said, Mike, and he's good for them quotes. Well, some of them he said is, I'm here, I ain't going nowhere, I'm about to get comfortable. Everybody quiet now. Now what? He said, these young men in there, they believe in me. He had quite a few quotes during that press. I don't know if you
now, and check this out. Here's how he confuses people. Do you see the scene where he hugged Coach Dykes?
Right.
Right. I mean, I guarantee you that threw Coach Dykes off.
I think it did too. Yeah,
it threw him off. Right. And I don't know if you got a chance to hear his response to that, because he said, I want to praise the opponent. He didn't say the coach by name. So I want to praise the opponent, because that coach over there, he's done some good things. He turned around the SMU program. He turned around the TCU program. So he's letting you know, I can relate to trying to turn a program around with this man. Right. And the way he said, we got a chance to embrace a little bit on the field when the players was hurt, and I appreciate him. And then what you gonna say about that? Right? You can come at him another way you want to when he's being true. Now he's being even more true. What you gonna do and say about that?
Right.
What
Yeah.
can you say? What can you say?
Can't say nothing, but they ain't gonna acknowledge it, and they not gonna write about it. They ain't gonna talk about it.
No, no, you're
But
right.
they're gonna gloss over it. Yeah.
Well, it was an
So
enjoyable
again,
game.
Colorado. It was. I was gonna say it was. I don't think we've anticipated that big of a game. It's been a
No,
minute, huh, Mike?
no, no,
Yeah.
no.
So
And I just think it's just another person who's been real for generations, and now other cats. Because for those who are younger, don't know about his football and baseball exploits, you can be sure they're looking it up
oh
if they
yeah,
didn't know.
if they didn't
And
know,
they've heard
yeah.
somebody older tell them about him. They just know him as a guy that
Mm-hmm.
coaches. It's like about John
Mm-hmm.
Madden. They
Mm-hmm.
just knew John Madden as John Madden. They didn't know that he coached. And Dion is
Right.
that kind of figure. Now, as long as he's in the light like he is, as long as he's relevant, folks will follow him wherever he goes. As I have, I think as you probably have, because
Mm-hmm.
one
Oh,
thing
we
about
all have. Yeah.
if you're a true fan and you're a true fan of a player, you keep up with that player, especially if they're still out there in the spotlight. You keep up with that player,
You
and,
do.
and I'm gonna tell you, I know he's got his skeletons. But O.J. Simpson was one of the first black athletes to be able to do that because when he got through playing ball, he stayed relevant because they put him on Monday Night Football. I mean, they did stuff with him. They hadn't done an African American athlete prior to him because they
Mm-hmm.
liked him and because he was marketable. The Wall
Right.
Street, they like the marketable cats. And Dion's been marketable from the time he went to Florida State. And he's just maintained it and he's honed it because he knows how to play the crew. He's not a con man. He just knows that if I'm involved, it's going to be a big deal. When's the last time an
Right.
Aflac commercial was a big deal before Dion got into it?
It never, it was right. It's been years because we watched it just for the damn duck. We could care less
We
who
watch
was
it
the
for the
damn.
damn duck, right?
We was
Now
in
we
the
got
damn
Dion in
commercial.
there talking about my new
Right.
homie here. I'll get the
Right.
bird home or whatever it was.
Yeah.
The big old
Yeah.
buffalo comes walking in. I mean, that's TV. He understands the marketing sides of. He can coach. He knows about style. You saw the players looking yesterday. They were tatted up and they're white, all white.
Right.
Look
They
good
look
there.
good
Look good
too.
on TV.
You look
And
good. You
he
play
just
good.
brings a whole. He's kind of like
Yeah.
Tex Schramm was when the Cowboys came into existence. If you follow me here, Tex Schramm came up with the idea of putting the star on the helmet because the Notre Dame helmets, the way they showed on TV, early color days of television, him just stood out. So he already knew the kind of helmet he wanted, and you saw how he was meticulous and he was involved. But he wasn't the
Mm-hmm.
coach. He had a coach. He had a player personnel and Gil Brandt. He's
Right.
had his hands on the other things. This is
Who
what
passed
Dion
away
does.
last week, by the way? Gil Brandt, if
Yes,
y'all didn't
passed
know.
away.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what Dion does. Charles also says it was the best game of the weekend so far. You were right. We got a good one that's coming on tonight. We got LSU and Florida State at 6:30 on ABC. So that should be a good one tonight. And Charles also says Dion's the only person to play in the Super Bowl and World Series. We know that. So yeah, yeah. Charles also says having such a great show until someone brings up the Cowgirls. Spoken from a true 49ers fan. And listen, Charles, we go through this all the time. Neither myself or Michael are Cowboys fans, but we're smart enough to know Cowboys get eyeballs. So you got to talk about the Cowboys, regardless if you're a fan of them or not. So there you have it. Again, Charles is a 49ers fan, by the way. And we're gonna talk about the NFL before we get out of here. But we also, Mike, we had another upset. We're gonna move on to another upset that happened in the state of Texas yesterday that a lot of people didn't know about.
Yep.
Texas State went to Waco, Texas, and they pulled off, I think that may have been a bigger upset than Colorado.
Oh, I think it is because it's Texas State, man, and San Marcos. Who goes to San Marcos but somebody going to school?
Right. Texas State beat Baylor 42-31 with their first year head coach, G.J. Kinney. We're going to talk a little bit about him because I know a little bit about his background. We're going to talk a little bit about him. Well, Texas State got their first win over a Power 5 opponent since moving up to the FBS level for the 2012 season. Texas State went into this game versus Waco as a 27.5-point underdog. Again, Bobcats' new head coach, G.J. Kinney, gets the biggest upset in his first season there. He also, if you don't know about his background, he played quarterback at Tulsa. He threw for 9,472 yards from 2009 to 2011 and was Conference USA Player of the Year his junior season at Tulsa. And Texas State starting quarterback, guess who it is? It is former Auburn quarterback T.J. Finley, who threw for 22. He was 22 for 30, 298 yards and 3 touchdowns. And there's reports that Baylor paid Texas State only $375,000 to make the short trip up to Waco to get beat, but they actually end up getting beat. Mike, your thoughts on this? To me, is the bigger upset than the Colorado beating TCU.
Well, it is huge, and it came on late. Because I noticed it this morning. It's okay. I got something to work with today. I tell you, there's another. Before we start talking about that, Reggie Rivers, the Denver Broncos running back, went to Texas State.
Okay,
and Dennis, and I was there at the time, and Dennis Francione got his head coaching start at Texas State. Then he went to TCU, and then he went to Alabama. During that time, Texas State was trying to do something with their program, and I'm familiar with the young, is it Kynes? How you say it?
Kenny.
Mm-hmm. Because I'll be done. Because I was gone when all that stuff went down.
Right.
And so I had to refresh my memory, and to see where he's come from to what he's doing. More power to him. He even has experience at the NFL level.
Yeah.
I know. So he played his ball at Gilmer, right?
He played at Canton first. He was at Canton. Then the big national story happened when his disgruntled parents shot his father, who was his head coach at Canton High School in Texas. Shot his father. They didn't think he was going to make it. He ended up making it. Well, then his father Gary Kenny took a job as a Baylor's linebacker coach, I think going into his junior season. He would then move from Canton to Gilmer to stay with his mother and stepfather, and he would play for Gilmer his senior year. So he played his senior year at Gilmer. They went undefeated.
So he played for Jeff Traylor.
Yes, he played for Jeff Traylor. He did.
See all this East Texas history, how is this coming about, man? This is what folks don't understand. This is, and that's why I really enjoy East Texas high school sports, obviously, especially football, because there's always a connection somewhere down along the road. I did a story a while back on a gentleman whose father died of cancer years ago. I think he was a Gladewater guy. Maybe I can't remember what school. Anyway, they did a documentary, and I did a piece on it. The kid that played the quarterback, the role of the quarterback at that time, his brother is an defensive lineman for the Chiefs right now. Something Noddy or something like that.
Okay.
And his brother was an actor. And what I'm relating is the connections throughout East Texas through football is overwhelming. You won't see that in many other places, but good for him. Right. Outstanding win. It just tells you he's on his way. He's only 34 years old. I looked him up and read about him. I said, wow, this kid, he's come a long way, because I didn't know what he was doing. And now I see he's coaching down there at Texas State.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't
either. Good for him.
He came from Incarnate Word, Mike. He was there for 2 seasons, was successful there. I didn't know what he was doing either, because I know he after he left Tulsa, he was an undrafted free agent to the Jets. He shipped around a couple. I think he was with the Eagles practice squad for a year or two. Then he played in the CFL for Saskatchewan and another team for a little bit. And then I didn't know what happened to him after that. And then when I saw this score and I read that G.J. Kinney was a head coach, I said, wait a minute. Is this the G.J. Kinney that played at Canton High School and at Gilbert? I was like, I covered this young man in high school. So I was like, okay, he's
because I do remember him in high school. I remember them in high school.
Yeah. Myself
and now I'm wondering if Legacy's coach, who was the quarterback coach forever at Tulsa, coached him.
Well, it depends on how long he was at Tulsa.
Yes, I'm saying, yeah. I mean, he's been there forever, but I don't know how long forever is.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I guess
he's look. They gonna try. I don't know how long he's gonna be able to stay at Texas State. He keep pulling off these upsets.
Oh, he's trust me. His name is already out there if it wasn't out there before.
You're right. You're right. So, and then we have one more upset to talk about, a Texas team. Wyoming upset Texas Tech last night, 35-33 in double overtime. So I didn't get to see that. I don't even know if that was on TV or not, but I didn't get to check that out. So there
Well,
you
you
have
you
it.
just filled me in because I listened to it on the radio, some of it, and I
Oh,
was like,
did you?
wow, they're down. Why are they down? They're playing
Right.
Wyoming.
All
But
right.
because people think Texas Tech could like take charge once Texas and Oklahoma leaves, I don't think that's going to be the case. I mean,
I
K
don't.
State's I think is going to be a top dog for a while,
Mm-hmm.
and I imagine University of Houston is going to squeeze their butts up there in that top three situation because they got a good football program and they got a great basketball program.
Right,
You
right.
know,
You're right. Yeah. So we're gonna get down to our last segment, Mike. We got this NFL kickoff week. By the way, if everybody, we excited about the college game and all what's going on, but we got some NFL kicking off on Thursday night. We got the Detroit Lions visiting the defending Super Bowl champs, Kansas City Chiefs, on NBC at 7:20 p.m. Mike, what you think about this opening night game? You know, you all Chiefs, so I know you know what's going down. Tell me what's happening.
well,
Lions at
but
Chiefs Thursday night.
all is not rosy for my Chiefs. They're missing Chris Jones. You know,
Yeah, that's right.
Chris Jones is like I can hold out 8 weeks into the season now. But does that mean if you hold out 8 weeks, you're gonna get the money you want? Is that what that means? I don't know if it means that. I don't know if he meant that as a threat or if he's saying I can last this long. I'm not quite sure what he meant by that. But it's a deal where now I have Kansas City and Philadelphia going back to the Super Bowl. I have a sequel, but
Mm,
I don't think they can go if they don't have Chris Jones anchoring that defensive line. They'll put points on
mm,
the board, but then But then how are you going to stop them? The opposition.
right,
If you got a high
right.
octane offense, opponent wise, it's like they didn't need Tyreek Hill to go back to the Super Bowl, but they need
Mm-hmm.
Chris Jones to go back to the Super Bowl, and that concerns me.
Yeah. And then this would be the first season without Eric Bieniemy.
Yeah.
Will they miss a beat? I
Well, and we're
mean,
gonna see was it Andy or was it Eric? We're
that's
gonna,
that's that's my
what kind
point.
of drop off
Yeah.
will we see if we see any? You
Right.
know,
Yeah. Because I was going to
um,
ask you, what were your thoughts on that?
yeah, there's going to be that. This Nagy came back. He was with them
Mhm.
Mahomes' early years and went to Chicago, and he didn't do well there. Came back, so I know he's the quarterback coach. Let's see how long it takes before he is called the guy who is calling the play. Let's see, and let's see if there's any uproar. Like if they're
Mhm.
successful with it, like it was with the enemy, how's it
Right.
treated? You know,
Yeah.
it'll be treated correctly. I think in the local market because KC is not a big media market because it's kind of like a community. It's kind of like Tyler a lot of times in a lot of ways. It reminds me, it really does. But when it
Mhm.
comes to the media, because the Chiefs are that team,
Mhm.
and they get talked about at the national level, that's where those narratives come in when they put in the banner. Who's a better play caller? That kind of stuff. And then you get the conversation going, and it's like, well, where did this originate? Why does it
Mhm.
even matter? And so that's what we're going to be watching out for the play call. And the same thing with Mike McCarthy. He's calling the plays,
Right.
and Kellen Moore kind of had a nice little offense going last year. They did some
Yeah.
things. So, but they didn't win. So let's see if the trend is for them not to be as offensive, but be more efficient and win. Let's
Right.
see if that works.
Charles says Travis Kelsey's pleaded with Jones to come back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he did.
I've read that, and KC Charles also says KC needs Chris Jones. Well, the one thing I always say about when you talk about a man in his pockets and his money, stay out of
Yeah.
it. that ain't your business. When it comes to contract negotiations, obviously, Travis want Chris back, and I get that. I mean, who wouldn't? But at the end of the day, that's that man business. So, you just support him as a teammate, because speaking of Travis Kelsey, he's he should be pissed off at what Hawkinson just got from the doggone Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, he should be. Don't worry about Chris Jones.
Right.
You need to be worried about yourself.
I would be like, whoa, wait a minute. How the hell is TJ Hawkinson getting this type of money? I think
Ain't
it's
that the
like one
truth?
of the largest tight end contract ever in NFL history. And
He ain't
Travis
been to no
Kelce,
playoff game. He ain't been to no
and,
Super Bowl. He's probably been to the Super Bowl in the stands. I'm talking about he ain't been on the field
right.
competing in the Super Bowl.
Right. So I'm like, well, God damn. Okay. Well, we'll see what happens with
But see,
that.
that's the only position. That's one of the only positions you can do that in.
Yeah.
You know, you can't do that in the quarterback position. You forget about paying somebody a whole bunch of money, and then
Hmm.
the guy next in line, because Mahomes is next in line again.
Right. Right. Again.
He's
Yeah.
next in line, and
Gotta be.
so that's a
Mhm.
whole different thing.
Yeah. Right.
Um, I would think pass rusher is right up there, but how much up there?
Hmm.
How much up there?
Now is he gonna get Aaron Donald? Is he looking for Aaron Donald type
I
money?
think he is looking for Aaron Donald money.
Okay.
You know,
I don't know if he's worth Aaron Donald type money.
well,
I don't know,
well, he's got one
but
more bowl
again,
in there.
I'm not talking about a man's worth because I always say this: you worth what somebody willing to pay
There
you.
you go.
So,
There
so
you
why
go.
I damn sure he gonna say, hey, get that money, young fella.
You
That's
worth
all.
what you can get.
Yes, sir. Charles says Burrow will get his money next. You're right. He's next. Yep, Burrow gonna probably break the bank too. It's a quarterbacks league, so that's what we do. All right, let's get to the Sunday games, Mike. Here, I just kind of highlighted some of the marquee games. You tell me which one of these games you think is gonna be a must-see TV. The noon kickoff, the early games on Sunday. We got the Niners at the Steelers. We got the Bengals at the Browns. We got the Texans at the Ravens. We got the Panthers at the Falcons. And then the late windows, we got the Packers at the Bears, the Dolphins at the Chargers, and the Eagles at the Patriots. Those are some of the early
I
games. Out
like
of those,
I
which
like
ones you think?
the Niners and the Steelers. Is that what it was?
Yeah, Niners at
I
the
like
Steelers.
that
That's
game
the
and the
noon game.
Chargers game with who's the Chargers with?
Dolphins at the Chargers. That's the
I
late
like
window.
that game.
Yeah.
We get to see Kellen Moore and his play calling, and
Mm-hmm.
B, how do you slow down if Tyreek Hill? I want to see what Tyreek does. So anymore at this stage for me, I'm gonna really watch a game if they do something like Tyreek. I'm gonna watch Tyreek Hill. How do you not? And I want to see what San Francisco. I mean, what the Saints do. I mean, what Miami does. Is it
Yeah.
Miami?
Yeah,
Miami and the
Miami.
Chargers. The
Right.
quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
The
Mm-hmm.
quarterback. Justin
Tua.
Herbert. Justin Herbert.
Oh, Justin
He's been
Herbert.
getting
Yeah.
talked up a lot. He got his new contract. Let's see if it's going to pay off on the first game of the season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm interested in that early window. I'll be honest with you, I'm intrigued at obviously the Niners at the Steelers because I want to see if Brock Purdy is he 100% healthy or what they're gonna do with them. I always Niners Steelers, that's a nice matchup. But also I'm intrigued at the Texans at the Ravens because obviously Houston got the new head coach D'Amico Ryans. They're gonna start C.J. Stroud. And also, I want to see what this new Ravens offense going to look like now with a new OC.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson got his money. Odell Beckham Jr. is in the house. And they got that kid from Boston College, Zay Flowers, that's supposed to be the real deal. So I'm intrigued to see what this Ravens offense is going to look like.
Well, I think what they settle down Lamar. I mean, he seems like he's in. I mean, I would never question his passion for the game.
Mm-hmm.
He's just a stand-up dude, and I think with his new weapons, because they made an investment, and he got his money. I think all is right in Baltimore. I think all is right in Baltimore. I think we're gonna get a chance to see that this year.
And we also want to keep our eye on our Tyler guy for Baltimore, Tyus Bowser.
Yep.
Former Tyler
Yep.
High. He's there
Tyus.
with Baltimore. Yeah, Tyus Bowser. He's there as well. Now, I got to talk about my Packers at the Bears because guess what? It's a new era at the frozen tundra. Jordan Love will be the starting quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. That's the first time we've heard somebody named outside of Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre in 25 years?
That sounds about right,
years?
man.
It's
I go with that.
About 30 years since we haven't heard those two names. I'm my expectations are I don't have any. I'll be honest with you, Mike. Far as the Packers, as far as Jordan Love, I'm expecting them to hit some speed bumps. I'm expecting that. And the Bears is probably going to be a little bit better. I think the NFC North is down. Outside, I think the Lions are probably the best team in the division right now, in my opinion.
And I tease the Lions. Yeah, they've gotten the most positive press from that division during the off season. Now I know that with Trey Lance having moved to where he's at, Jordan's probably thinking, oh, I'm glad old boy's gone.
Right. Yeah.
Or that I might end up being going somewhere where I don't want to be right now because I got a good shot of being the guy here,
Right.
and I think he does. Now, I've heard good reports about him, during the off season and some reports on from his preseason games. I really haven't heard much on my man from with the Bears.
Oh yeah. I can't think of his name.
Justin Fields.
Yes, yeah, quarterback Justin
I
Fields.
don't really, I don't ever hear anything positive about this guy, and so I don't know if he's in a trap where
it's Chicago
coaching regime who brought him on board, Nagy, who's now back with Kansas City.
Right.
Did he not know what to do with that quarterback?
Yeah, that could be it.
It's not him because when he carries that team on his back,
yeah,
not to have weapons. And this is kind of weird, even in this day and age, to think a Chicago Bear team doesn't have a weapon. That's just kind of weird to say.
Well,
but
it ain't weird for me because it ain't weird for me because I don't give a damn about them Bears. You know
I know
how
you
feel
don't.
about them. So, they can stay a dumpster fire as far as I'm concerned. Charles says he loves Mike T. Talking about Mike Tomlin, but bang, bang, Niner gang. That's going again, Niners at the Steelers. And Charles says the guy the Niners should have taken, shaking my damn head. Are you talking about Justin Fields, Charles? I'm assuming that's who he's saying that the Niners should have taken. Now, last, and we're going to get out of here, Mike. We got to talk about the Sunday night game and the Monday night game. Sunday night, we got the Cowboys at the Giants. And then Monday night, we got the Bills at the Jets. Let's start off with the Cowboys at the Giants first, Mike. Your thoughts on what's going to happen on Sunday night?
So, Cowboys in New York, right?
Yes.
Yeah. A week from today. I don't know, man. I'm just still scared about the running back position for the Cowboys. I mean, they got a boy back in the block, but who's he going to block for? I'm going to go Cowboys, though. I'm going to go Cowboys. I'm going to go Dallas. I'm going to go strong with them. And if for no other reason, more because of the defensive side of the ball than the offensive side of the ball.
I agree with you because I think the offense will be okay, but you got Mike McCarthy, as you stated earlier. He's going to be calling plays. I don't think he's called plays in a minute. It's been a while since he last called. He was with Green Bay, and he didn't even call plays in the last couple of seasons. Yeah, so it's been a while since he called plays. They got Brandon Cooks. They brought in, which I've heard nothing but rave reviews about him. Now is Tony Pollard? Is he going to be 100%? I don't see him being a 20 carry guy. So I don't know if you can do that. And I also just read today that Terrence Steele, they just signed him to like an $86 million extension. I don't know if you saw that, Mike. I just saw that.
Who they signed that to?
Right tackle Terrence Steele.
Oh yeah, I did see the headline.
Yeah.
And I said earlier, what I said earlier about Tony Pollard, teams now are preparing for Tony Pollard. They're not preparing for Zeke Elliott. So it's like we don't know when number 20 is coming in, but be ready. But meanwhile, now they're going, we know when 20 is starting the game. All right. And so that's just, we know what he can do. Let's shut him down. So let's see if he still has the mobility and the instinctive, stuff that he would do to make his run game strong. Because the first time he has to start thinking about running or cutting and the leg thing kicks in his brain, he's going to hesitate.
Right.
And he's going to slow down. And
I agree.
That's only something he's going to know within himself on whether or not he can go full blast. I mean, I like to see a situation where Deuce Vaughn comes in from time to time and gets some key yardage. That's one way to spell Pollard, obviously. I mean, Deuce is not a 12 carry back. He might have been in college, but he's not in the pros. But when you use him, it's got to be successful. Right. It has to be executed if you're using him
the
right way.
And you know what, Mike? I haven't talked to you real quick. Then we're gonna move to the Bills and Jets, and then we'll get out of here. Losing DeMarvion Overshawn, is that going to be how big an impact you think that's going to be for them defensively?
I think it will, in the sense they had a young player that could get some reps and get his own game going. I mean, I think it hurts them that way the most. Scheming wise, maybe not. I know Jabril I think Jabril Cox was supposed to get a lot more reps.
Yeah, they cut him.
And then he left.
Yeah, they cut him.
Gone to, I can't remember where he went to, but he's gone. So
yeah.
So to me, the biggest impact is him not get is DeMarvin not getting professional reps and learning how to approach the game and that kind of stuff. But I think overall it does hurt them. But I think they can camouflage that with who they have on the defensive side of the ball.
Right. Charles says 86 million for above average tackle. Yep. Yeah, Charles, I kind of scratched my head on that too. But these offensive linemen getting that bread too, so I can't be mad at him. And he's coming off those knee injuries too. That's why I was kind of shocked they gave him that type of money. But anyway, so let's get down to the last one, the Monday night game. The Bills at the Jets. Jets got a new quarterback by the name of Aaron Rodgers against Josh Allen. That AFC East, in my opinion, is probably going to be a beast of a division. What do you see? What you see happen Monday night? Bills at Jets, Mike.
I got the Bills beating the Jets. They're going to need Jets are going to need more than Aaron Rodgers to do some things. And maybe they click 3 weeks later, but I think Buffalo is going to have a lot to prove. That we're not fighting. The QB and the receiver, they're on the same page. They still want the same things. And they ended their season last year with a nasty taste in their mouth. Yeah. Just the way things turned out for them. I mean, a team that was really on the go, and then DeMar goes down, the game is over, and oh, by the way, this new equation, how we're going to make up for it, you guys are the odd man out. I mean, they really got treated badly last year in this whole aftermath of DeMar Hamlin, which it just probably couldn't be helped. You see, someone's not going to be happy, and it's going to be the ones that that were affected by it the most. That's just the way it turned out. So I think they are going to be on a mission to just try to overcome last year's disastrous ending of the season when they were still who they were, and they couldn't pull it off. So fresh start, Diggs, big boy Allen, show people that you guys can play. Even if you get on each other's nerves, you can still play. And I don't know if that's the case. I'm just saying, I know you saw the little chirping on the sidelines last year. And people went, oh. Yeah. Then something happened during the offseason. That's not that big of a deal. I guess he was excused from camp. I think Diggs was. And they were like, it's not a big deal, but they were trying to make it a big deal. That's what I hate about my business, man. If they tell you it's not a big deal, it's not a big deal.
I do too. We always.
I love what I do, but I hate this business.
I do too.
In that respect.
And you know what, Mike? It's even worse in YouTube streets. These YouTube content creators are even worse. Let me tell you. So, and it irks me when people try to make something a bigger deal than it really is.
Well, it's like I was watching, and the ones that get all the ratings do it too. First Take, the new Undisputed Truth. They went to a commercial break, and then 2 commercial breaks later, another Cowboy. Hey, the Cowboys and that. Well, y'all just talked about the Cowboys 25 minutes ago.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. It's crazy out here in these media streets, man. But let's say this about the Bills: they will be without who's going to be a Hall of Famer eventually, Von Miller. I think he's going to miss the first couple because he's still recovering from that knee injury. He's going to be out. But I'm picking the Jets, man. I think
you got the Jets.
I got the Jets, man. I think A-Rod and he got them boys believing. He got some weapons on that offensive side of the ball with Garrett Wilson at the receiver. He got Alan Lazard. Heck, they just signed our guy from Minnesota. He signed with the Jets. The running back that was a free agent.
Oh, what are you talking about? Shoot,
I can't think of his name, but he signed with a 1-year deal with the Jets.
Yeah. Shoot.
God dang it. The big free agent running back outside of him and Zeke, they were both
after. Because they let him go.
They let him go.
He's a Pro Bowler and all that.
Right. And I can't believe I can't think of his name.
I'm saying Carl, but that's not right.
I'm gonna look it up real quick. So I think
okay, you got the Jets. Okay.
Yeah, I got the Jets, man.
I know they got the defense, so they had the defense last year.
Right.
And we'll see if they can pick up where they left off from last year.
Dalvin Cook. I don't know why we couldn't think of his name.
Yeah, Dalvin. Right.
So that's where we're going with that. So again, man, that's just been our Sunday sports chat. Also, if you guys want to go see some more of the in-depth that I did on Coach Prime with some sound that I use, go to the TFG Sports Media and Kendrick Sports social channels. I really use a lot of that sound, and go check it out. Go check out some of the other videos. Get those watch hours up. Go check me out over there. Mike is really knee-deep in now high school football. We are in the state of Texas. High school football is king. You want to get all your latest, all the greatest highlights from East Texas football. Make sure you go to your app store and download the KOTV, KTRE Red Zone app. And my man Mike is going to have everything for you. Mike, tell me how the high school football season is going thus far.
I'm still shocked at the 71-53 whipping that Chapel Hill put on Gilmer week 1.
Yeah, that was
crazy. Now Gilmer's 0-2 now. They got beat a couple nights ago to I can't remember. Kilgore. Maybe Kilgore. Yeah, Kilgore. Maybe Kilgore. Tyler High School. Again, second week in a row, come from a 14-0 deficit to win. That's good. Because when I left, it was 7-0, and then things began to happen. And Mr. McFall, Mr. UCLA Bruin did his thing. He showed out. So I don't know. This is real interesting because now Tyler High has won as many games they won last year.
And that's great.
And the stands were popping. I mean, both sides of the stands, red and blue, was outstanding. So that was healthy to see. They even they've done it in the past, but they really built it up this year. They had a little tailgate in the parking lot at Rose Stadium with that cat was smoking some turkey legs and some links, and that was pretty cool. I stopped by and took some video. So the atmosphere was there. It got me thinking, this must have been the way it used to be back in the day. When both teams were at least winning 6 games each, and they were still competitive when they met. And so we'll see if Coach Woods can keep it going. And the next game for Legacy is Longview. All right. So, wow. I know. So, it's take your medicine, I guess, type of thing. It'd be one thing if you could, how they do in colleges, they pay the schools to come to play them, like for homecoming, or they pay somebody. Maybe they need to find a way for give money to Legacy for going to play them. Because the thing is this, if you're on somebody's schedule, the first 2 games or on homecoming, they plan on beating you. They know those are pleasure games right there. The first 2 games and the homecoming. If you're on somebody's homecoming schedule, you should be insulted.
Right. You about to get ran over by a bulldozer is basically what they say.
And don't get scheduled for 2 homecoming games. Another homecoming game, dang man!
It's gonna turn into a home going rather than a homecoming. Because you about to get buried.
Oh man! All right, Kenny, good holler at you, buddy.
You too, my brother, man. Again, y'all make sure y'all check out my guy, KOTV.com. Y'all go check him out. I'm gonna go ahead and let you get on, Mike. I will talk to the people before we get out of here.
Talk to you.
All right, brother. So y'all make sure y'all follow my guy, Michael Coleman. Go to his trying to remove you, bro. There we go. Okay. There we go. I think we out of here. Boy, I tell you, there we go. We out of here now. Y'all make sure y'all check out my guy, Michael Coleman, on KOTV.com. Follow him on you can follow him on Facebook as well. He's on his Instagram. I forgot to tell him to give me all that, but you can go check him out on KOTV.com, and make sure you go to your app store and download the KOTV KTRE Red Zone app to keep up with all the high school football news and highlights. So again, those that watch this, make sure you wind it. Make sure you like, share this to your social media platforms. I'm Kendrick with your Sunday sports chat in the afternoon. Probably going to start doing this more often, more so probably on Saturdays to kind of preview the games that's coming up on Sundays, because next Sunday we got the NFL kicking off again. So thanks for watching. Make sure you leave a comment in the comment section, and I'll try to holler at you. You guys enjoy your Labor Day weekend, and we will see you on the other side. I am out of here. Peace.